Happy New Day. Working on the new declaration, the true declaration. Suggestion: I think we all need to work on our own declaration, our own mission statement, the reason why we are here. Take this time to imagine the best. If it's not conceived, how is it going to be achieved? We must conceive. We must conceive the vision so that it is possible, so that it's clear. Today, I put down I would say unsoberness at least until the end of the month. Just to be clear, I need to be sober for what I have to do. I do not knock marijuana. It is very helpful, especially when you're waking up. It is very helpful. But once you get here, how necessary is it? You have to realize like who you are, and like no drug can get you. And marijuana really isn't a drug, it's a herb, but nothing outside of you can get you to what's inside of you better than you just getting to inside of you deliberately, being aware of yourself, the beauty that is inside of you. There's a world inside of you, and it's beautiful if you let it be. And we're here to actually let that world be here. That good world that you know is in there. The good world where you're like, justice. We're looking for justice on the outside because we're actually justice on the inside. We're looking for liberation on the outside because actually we know what freedom doesn't feel like. And so I think it's just a great time to take the time to envision, imagine this world, how you know it's supposed to be. Imagine this world without slavery, and what does that mean without slavery? Imagine this world without prisons. Just really imagine what that means. But then when we take something out of the world, replace it with something better. What should replace prisons? Think about these things. Conceive these things so that they can be birthed into this world. We are the meek shall inherit the earth. And we really need to find out what that means. But it's really the good people who care about everything, the people who care enough to act, to show our love. We shall inherit this earth. The people who care about people, who care about the earth and animals. There's in the Genesis, it says, or in Genesis, It talks about God telling us to multiply, name the animals, eat green things, and uh, tend the garden. And that's really what we're supposed to be doing. We have all of this. We don't have to throw away mostly anything. We just have to we just have to change it to
Right.
something else. Happy New Day. Yeah, we just have to change it. We have to replace it how it's being used. So, uh, sometimes we have to change the purpose for something to make sure we're going to have to change the purpose of everything to benefit all of humanity. That has to be the purpose for everything that we're creating. If you say, well, it can't benefit all humanity, well, do no harm. It can't do any harm. We have to replace things that do harm with things that bless. So, what I'm asking, because it's going to take all of us, it's going to take people who understand what I'm talking about, people who know the possibilities of. Well, this lady keep on getting pineapples. I ain't had no one pineapple yet.
You like pineapple?
Yeah, we have to talk about the. We have to think on this thing to conceive new things so that there's a possibility to be created. We must conceive before we achieve. So it's a mindset of, if you know you're here to change things for the better, part of that is to go into your mind and change things in your mind for the better. Where you see a lapse of how things should, I mean, like a break in how things should work, then you can use your mind, your imagination to repair the gap. So that's like easy, your first step. Just think about good things, think about good options, good choices. Like, for example, business today. Business today has deceptive practices in it that we accept as okay to be able to deceive people in order to sell your product. And we think that's okay. I just had a let me go back to the beautiful higher part, but just had a bottle of what I thought was olive oil. It said extra, 100% extra virgin olive oil or something like that. The bottle was a transparent green, and I was like, this is a great deal for this olive oil. And I get the olive oil, and then after I used it all up, and I realized I'm not seeing the quite benefits that I see from olive oil on my body, like how I feel, my skin, how everything. Olive oil is so great. I noticed it wasn't. I was like, maybe it's just not that good a quality. I didn't get a great price. I got a great price for it, so maybe the quality was bad, or was. Then look on it, real small letters at the top. It was sunflower seed oil or sunflower oil, and then look on the back of it. It said 90% sunflower oil, and so real little that said sunflower oil with 100% extra virgin olive oil. And we think all of that is acceptable, and we accept it and we buy into that because we haven't thought about it. We don't like it and we say, oh, but no, we have to recreate something different. Deceptive practices is no longer acceptable. If you have to cheat, steal, trick people to buy your product, then it's not supposed to be bought. It has to be bought with knowing that it's what it is, without tricking people. It should be no fine print in this new area. Whatever you can finally print on a little piece of contract, you can put on a next paper in the normal font that you want everything to be seen in. So, uh, we're going to let the truth set us free. The declaration, I know what's in my declaration is the truth sets me free. And the truth in contracts is going to be the the judge, the liberator, actually, of of what we buy. If you see on a contract that's no, it's no longer in fine print, you can't have fine print in a contract because the truth should set you free. So if you see what was fine print in a contract as regular print and it calls you not to sign it, then it means that you're free from that contract. You're free from being bound to something that you did not want to be bound to. There should be no fine print. There should be no fine print. So like those type of things, transparent business, like we want, we're just going to have to call it out and say, if you cannot be transparent, if your business cannot be transparent in this new day, it will not make it. If your business is based on the fine print, lying to people, deceptive practices, then you will not survive in this new day as a business. It's time to fix it. Where people have lawyers to fight them writing genetically modified organism on the side of a product that has been genetically modified and engineered. Um, you have lawyers and you pay them millions of dollars basically to keep them from, to keep you from having to put 3 letters on the side: GMO, genetically modified organism, on the side of your um, product. Because people say, well, what's GMO? Well, it's genetically modified organism. Some people are going to say, I don't care. Let the people say, I don't care, buy that. But if you cannot, now you go through years of testing, planning, plotting, strategizing, branding, doing all this stuff, farming, colonizing, doing all the stuff that you're doing. But you can't write 3 words or 3 words, because we should get the whole thing, not just GMO. Then you got to go look up what that means. No, genetically modified organism. So you get a clue. It's been modified genetically. Okay. Then you can have if you care that something's been modified genetically, then you have the choice to go and say, well, what does that mean? And it should be very easily what it means from your website as a business that produces genetically modified organisms. That's what you do. So why is that a secret? Like, why shouldn't that be on your product if that's what you do? It's sort of like if it's a goose down pillow and people don't know, you have to put that it's goose down, that it has goose feathers in it, right? If you go get geese and grab feathers from all over and wash them and do all this stuff and blah 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 blah, but you don't want to put that it's a goose down pillow on there, why wouldn't you? Because that's what your business is. So if your business can't even tell what it is, it's time for you to go in this new day. It's time for the contracts are going to set us free from you. The truth is going to set us free from companies who thrive on deception. We need transparency. If you want to do business with me, which means you want me to buy your stuff, and you don't want to tell me what's in it, that's not acceptable practices. And these things will change. These things will change this new day. We have to conceive these things to understand that as just human beings, let's stop playing like we've been sitting in a situation saying this sucks how this works. Oh, you get robbed here, and you get robbed here, and you get robbed by the big man here, and you get robbed by the big farmer here, and you get robbed by all these people here. And it's nothing you can do about it. They just gonna keep shitting on you, and that's what your choice is in this new day, to decide who you are in this. Who are you? You know, I decide to be the great liberator, first of myself, and to help other liberators be liberated so that they can liberate. So it's like, um, who are you? Are you the one who just says, darn, this sucks? Or are we the ones who not only complain, but we have to replace this stuff? We gotta fix this stuff. We gotta lift this stuff back up. If it fell off the shelf, you gotta put it back on. We can't just keep tripping over cans and all this stuff and say, oops, who left this can here? Who has the shelf tilted? Who did this? And we just keep going and keep getting tripped over, keep tripping over things that are put there to trip us up for whatever reason. But even if you don't believe that they were put there deliberately, even if you're still have uh, aware of the consciousness that was put into your oppression, into this oppression, the consciousness, the conscious unconsciousness, because they're unconscious who's doing this. Whoever's doing this is not a conscious being, but they're deliberately doing it. Okay, so if you still feel like, oh no, they're not deliberate, this is just, they threw it up in the air and this is how it just happened. The the poor gets poorer, the rich gets richer, the poor man gets stepped on, the the rich wins in court. Nothing, no real consequences for the rich, because if you have all the money to throw out $100,000 is nothing if you got $1 billion. It's like that's not, or to throw out $1 million is nothing if you have $1 billion. So there's no consequences for the rich. So um, dealing with contemplating, I love how Wayne Dyer, in his book, he's quoting somebody else, but in his book, Excuses Be Gone, he writes a chapter on contemplation. And the point of it is basically saying that contemplation is the greatest activity. Contemplation. And so I'm calling people who are starting to be aware to who are aware, you've been aware, to be conscious enough to deliberately conceive better realities for us and for what we have to do. What that look grin on your face?
I'm just talking.
Great, greater realities. We have to contemplate those things, conceive them, uh, come up with your uh, better solutions for how to like when they talk about free energy and free water, it's already here. We have all of these things. It's all here. It's just been restricted from you. It's been restricted from us, technically. You know, the water from the waterfalls that they put in a bottle and sell it to you for $1 for a little bit. That water is overflowing abundantly more than we could ever imagine. Like, really. But you're being sold it. It's been hoarded by you. The fish in the ocean, pretty much to our mind, they're unlimited. But to the people who are hoarding them, they keep it from us. We have to figure out ways to reclaim what is already here and what's been given to us, to take possession of the land, to dominate it as a spiritual being having a human experience. So, um, that's basically it. That's what I have to say about that. And Happy New Day. So the meek shall inherit the earth. Meet people, you need to do your homework and contemplate and conceive and be fruitful and multiply your mind, your ideas. Let them come to fruition and spread all over the world based on you being meek and caring and wanting to raise the vibration of the nations, wanting to make it brighter because we are the light. It is time to shine. All the little kittens. I should use little kittens. But yeah, there's more over there. All that. But it's getting ready to rain out here, I can see. But that's all I had to say about that. I love y'all. Let's raise the vibrations of the nations. Let's contemplate what the age of Aquarius really looks like.